Most companies think diversification is about entering attractive markets. But in practice, diversification works only when a company's capabilities can travel into the new business. Many firms expand into new categories and later discover that the real challenge is not the market. The real challenge is building new systems, new processes, and new expertise from scratch. So, the real question is not whether a new market looks promising. The real question is whether your existing strengths can support expansion into that market. Consider a company like Bisleri. Over decades, the company built strong capabilities around packaged drinking water. It developed production infrastructure, packaging expertise, quality control systems, and a nationwide distribution network. These systems were designed to support the bottled water business. So, when a company like Bisleri looks for growth, diversification becomes a natural idea. But the important decision is where to diversify. One approach could be to enter completely unrelated industries that promise very high growth. But that would require new technologies, new supply chains, and new distribution systems. Instead, the more logical path is to look for product categories that can use the same manufacturing systems, packaging technologies, and distribution channels. In such cases, expansion does not require building an entirely new organization. The same factories and retail relationships can support multiple product lines. Growth becomes an extension of the existing strength and not a leap into the unknown. In management literature, we call this as capability led diversification. Companies that diversify successfully usually build on what they already do well. Manufacturing systems can be adapted instead of being replaced. Distribution networks can carry additional products. Supplier relationships can support new product lines. When expansion builds on existing capabilities, costs can be shared across the product lines and the learning curve becomes much shorter. Managers can rely on familiar processes instead of creating entirely new business models. In contrast, unrelated diversification forces firms to acquire unfamiliar capabilities. Learning curve becomes slower and mistakes can become very expensive. So diversification is not only about where to grow, it is also about how to grow. That is the most critical question. Managers often evaluate diversification looking at the market size and the growth rates of that particular industry. Those numbers do matter, but they do not tell the whole story. On the other hand, a more useful starting point can be with a simpler question, I would say. What do we already do well? And where else can that strength work? Companies that grow in this way tend to expand more steadily because they are building on systems which they already understand. So, the next time a diversification opportunity comes on your table, a question that may be simpler to ask is, are we entering a new business or are we extending capabilities which we already possess? If you want to explore this idea further, our capability-led diversification microcase on Bisleri shows how firms expand beyond their core businesses using their existing strengths.